Hey, everybody. Welcome to our show. I just want to make sure that we're able to go ahead. I might have to come back, you guys. And make sure that you guys get this episode because I am able to go live. So I'm just going to go live right now. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm going to have to come back and do this again because I am not able to go live. Or am I? Okay. So hopefully this works. Sorry, there was a little bit of a technological glitch. I live streamed to many different places to save me time. This is another one of our episodes. And really, today I want to talk about why there is a very much a missing link in holistic autoimmune healing. Because the truth is, if you guys been living with autoimmune conditions, you guys all know that there are so many options when it comes to holistic healing for autoimmunity. And I know many patients, myself included, have tried and circled around doing all the things thinking that it's in the diet, it's in the supplement, something else I read about, the medication, meditation, yoga, all the things. What I know for sure is that it's a broken strategy because what we're doing is we're focusing so much on what we can see tangibly. And a lot of the autoimmunity is a rejection, right? It's a self-intolerance. It's a intolerance to self is what autoimmunity really is. So all the diets in the world, all the supplements and herbals, medications, and different interventions and coaching, even though you have a lot of options, at the end of the day, you as a patient are left with piecemealing, trying to create the puzzle that makes sense for you. And a lot of the times you don't have a lot of leads to go with in terms of knowing exactly what you need. And the problem most programs and treatments have is that it only addresses a small portion or a small piece of the puzzle. I don't know if you've ever tried to solve a puzzle, right? Just jigsaw puzzles, right? And a lot of the times, unless you know clearly what the overall picture is, it's really hard to put the pieces of the puzzle together. There's some structure to the madness. You almost always want to start at the edges based on what you're creating. And almost always, if you can get all four corners and all the straight lines to make sense based on the roadmap being clearly, you know exactly what you're building, the final product, right? Unless you know where you're going, it's hard to know how to put it all together. So you can be circling around, trying this diet, trying that supplement, trying this herbal, getting this acupuncture, getting therapy over here, cognitive behavioral therapy. We have yoga, meditation, all the things. It isn't until you're able to see the big picture and how it's integrated in your life to connect you at the mind-body level that healing can begin. You really need to address the unseen subconscious, underneath the surface drivers of autoimmunity, which is completely ignored in the holistic and conventional medical space. So my job today is to talk to you guys about what's under the surface of the tip of the iceberg, because the tip of the iceberg is usually just the tip. What lies beneath the water, the bulk of the problem is under the surface, and it's at the root level to make sure that the soil and all the things down below is really sound before you can address the tip of the iceberg. Because you can address tip of the iceberg all day long, but if you don't transform from the inside out, you'd be hard pressed to be on your self-healing journey. I emphasize so much in my autoimmune health transformation program that healing is really an inside job, that nobody else, not even me or experts or doctors, heal you. But we're conditioned so much from a young age to know and respect when the doctor says something, whether it be vaccinations or medications, antibiotics. When we go to the doctors, we listen. We do exactly what they say. We've been indoctrinated in this way. And so I make you question a lot of those things, because living with autoimmunity, we'd be offered a lot of different options in the way of medications. Sometimes those medications are necessary, but only short term. And those medications are good, and the doctors do it with good intentions. It's just over time, when you are toxifying your system with a medication, altering one of the biological pathways, you're almost always going to need another medication to combat and protect or decrease and minimize the symptoms of that first medication. And over time, we end up with so many medications. And most of the medications for autoimmunity is all about suppressing the immune system. In our lives, post-COVID doesn't really make us feel safe, because I know that even though COVID vaccination is all the things right now, it's that many of the autoimmune patients are really skeptical about getting vaccinations, because we know we're at higher risk for everything, especially if you're on immunocompromised medications. So all this being said, you really have to consider how everything comes together, because this body of ours works in harmony. It's constantly working to establish homeostasis. And what really the drivers of everything that we, every physiological interaction that we have within the body is driven by our brain. And the language of our brain is really our thoughts, and the language of our body is really our feelings. And nobody really talks about how to manage our thoughts that trigger the feelings, that create the actions, or that drive the actions, or that drive our choices that we make to produce the results in our lives. Unless you really understand the full spectrum of that and are willing to go deeper to understand exactly what is subconsciously driving your behavior, and how are you playing into the victimhood without even realizing it, as well as to perpetuate all the things. Today I had a discovery call. As you know, our autoimmune transformation program is now open. The bonus is closed at midnight tonight. So I hope you guys consider getting on a discovery call to work with me for a year. It's the most revolutionary program that's going to heal you from the inside out. One of the participants who did a discovery call expressed to me about how she's been enabling those people that she loves all around her. Her failure to set healthy boundaries around herself, she's become the doormat to her sons, her grandkids, and her husband. And she's at the bottom of the priority list, so much so that it's no wonder why she's getting sicker and sicker. And so if you don't address that part of it, no amount of diets, no amount of supplements can really help you when you've got toxic mind and feelings that's clearly driving everything that you do. Because stress is what really disrupts our endocrinological system. And when we do have the stress brain impact, it does eat away and degrade at our enteric nervous system, which is our gut-brain connection, which then ultimately, with the gaps in our digestive tract and lack of nourishments that's coming to our cells, we're not able to absorb all the necessary nutrients for our energy and our healing. And in so doing, if that's perpetuated over a long haul, we start to have inflammation in the body to cause a trigger in the immune brain component of the physiological system. And so in a nutshell, I do focus on the stress brain, enteric nervous system, the gut brain, and then immune brain. And a new terminology for psychoneuroimmunology is a new term, because I know that over 21 years of dealing with autoimmune patients, I've learned, myself included, is that we all have some type of past trauma. Now, past trauma is usually sort of minimized, dismissed, and we think it's overindulgent for us to think about the trauma when it's so small compared to what everybody else might be experiencing. But the trauma itself matters less. It's your thoughts and feelings that it provokes and triggers within to have a physiological impact in your body. So in the same way that I always say, there's not one single universal diet for everybody, we have to consider individual differences. And knowing that trauma impacts us differently as well, because our thoughts and our feelings cause us to make choices on the foods, and foods in and of themselves are not toxic. They're not the enemy. It's just what foods are we choosing to put into our body. And if and when we do, how does that food then get processed to get assimilated, metabolized, detoxified, and eliminated appropriately? So many of my autoimmune patients live day to day completely disconnected from their bodies. We pay more attention to putting on makeup than really connecting with our body. And this is in large part due to the fact that nobody taught us how to operate this machinery, this miraculous machine that we have called our bodies. We don't really occupy our mind in the body. Therefore, when the mind or the body is sending signals and messages to us to say, pay attention, you know what we do is we completely, even though we're the ones occupying this, we expect the doctors to figure out what message the signaling system is sending to us. We want them to plug us in through EKGs, check our labs, and do all the things externally to figure out exactly what's going on within us. But this is where I come back and challenge you to say, you know what? Healing is an inside job, and you must take responsibility for your own house. It's like I live over here, you live over there in your house, and you can't expect me to maintain your house. When something goes wrong in your house with the plumbing, with the AC, with the heater, with the pipes, or whatever, you don't expect me to come and fix it, right? You have to make sure that you listen to the plumbing. You have to make sure that you keep a clean house. You have to make sure that the doors and everything, the filters get changed. There's some maintenance things that we do for the house, as well as some people take care of their cars better than they do themselves. So I really want you to sit and think about how you tolerate things in your life. What kinds of things are you tolerating? What are you taking ownership of that might be perpetuating your autoimmunity? Because I can guarantee you, without that awareness, it's really hard to change and pivot and really drastically shift your paradigm in a way, because if you don't address the foundation and really address what's beneath the surface at the subconscious level, you'd be hard pressed to be on a hamster wheel, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And Einstein said it best, right? That is a recipe for failure. You can't expect to change when you're doing the same thing over and over again. You, at the identity level, must shift and change. And unless you are primed and ready to heal, nothing you do will ever make drastic difference. So I want you to think about really the be, do, have versus have, do, be model. Because many of you think, if only I had enough money, if only I had health, if only I had a helpful spouse, if only my kids don't live with me, if only my stressors were less, then I will do all the things I need to do to have the health that I want. But it doesn't work that way. You have to first be and willing to step into being the future version of yourself by being the person you need to be right now, And from that identity, step into doing all the things to have impact in your life, to have health and life and abundance in your life. So it works opposite, right? But too often, many of you guys are just completely living from the past, expecting different results. And that's really insanity. So I really want to challenge you today. As our cart comes to a close, we still have time. It's just the free bonuses go away at midnight tonight. Get on a discovery call with me to see if our program is the right fit for you. In our private group in Facebook, we have all the week-long content that I shared with you last week completely for free with a downloadable worksheet, meditation, as well as yoga and diet for 7 days to help you to experience the healing results in your life when you combine and integrate all the things that you need to be, to do, to have the life and health that you want. So go ahead and head on over to Facebook and really join our group to have access to a lot of that so that you can get on a discovery call to see if this program is ultimately right for you. It's the only program that's out there that truly integrates. I attract a lot of people from all over the world who's tried everything under the sun in different components, in different parts and pieces. It's like you're trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together without having all the puzzle pieces. You're always going to be lacking many different puzzle pieces, and you don't even know what the whole picture looks like. And that's a very, very failed strategy by which a lot of autoimmune patients are trying to patchwork and try to heal, and they only get marginally better. So what's your premise, you guys? What is the thing that you're committed to? Because whether you're committed to your health or whether you're committed to your sickness, you're committed to something. It's the same way. If you're committed to binge watching on Netflix, or if you're committed to doing the yoga every day, you're committed to something. So ask yourselves, what are you truly committed to? And here's another thing that I want to challenge you to look in the mirror and ask yourself. Many people tell me they want to get well, but they're just not willing to do the work that it takes to get there. So where do you fall? Because wanting and committing are two different things. Wanting is very passive. I can cry all day long and tell you I want something. And I've had many patients say that to me, but they're not willing to show up for themselves to actually do the work and commit through the process for the ultimate transformation. So put your right hand on your heart and ask yourselves, because the healing journey is 17 inches, which is from your brain out of your head into your heart to know what your body needs so that you can finally be connected at the mindful level with your body. So it's mind-body mastery is where it's at. So I hope this was helpful for you, and it really helps the algorithm if you can subscribe to our Mind Your Health podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever else there is podcasts. And I've been having this podcast. There's many episodes that I've done. And so please feel free to go back and look at some of the things if you need motivation, inspiration, right? And the other thing is, if you would kindly leave us a review, that would mean the world to me. I read every single one of your reviews. And again, subscribe to the channel and go join me in Autoimmune Health Rebels in Facebook, and follow me at Instagram handle at Dr. Connie Jian. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all next week.